What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another exciting video. Today we'll be covering the top 3 wildcard drafts for Game Week 30. So if you are on your wildcard this game week, this is the video for you. If not, that is absolutely okay, as we'll cover some transfer tips in terms of what players to buy and sell this game week. Plus we'll talk about the best captain picks at the end. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please do hit the like button. If you are new around here and haven't already, do subscribe to our channel as well. For those of you who are also planning for the upcoming game weeks, we did a strategy video a few days back, and that should help you prepare the best team from game weeks 30 to 34. So make sure you check that out. You'll find a link to the same at the end of this video, plus I've also mentioned it in this video's description. Great, let's dive into it then. Now guys, before we get into the drafts and a whole bunch of other things, you should ask yourself, do you really need to use a wildcard in game week 30? Now if you have a lot of Aston Villa and Leeds players, and you want them to play this week, as they probably have slightly better fixtures, you can play a chip in game week 31. In case if you have these players but don't have a very good squad otherwise, let's say only 5 to 6 players have good fixtures, then you can play a wildcard in game week 30. Chelsea have a really good run of games and you can take advantage of that straight away. Plus now Spurs also have a double game week in game week 32 and you can pile up on the attack if you haven't already. Okay then, now that you've decided to play a wildcard, it's important to make a plan and have a structure in place. I generally go in with some initial thoughts and tinker more to get the best possible squad. Guys, trust me, more often than not the strategy works and should give you the right results. The starting point of your draft should be to make a note of your overall team value and money remaining in your bank. Now guys, these are two critical pointers that will help you get the best players you need. Every FPL manager might have a different team value, so not everyone might be able to afford the same players and picks. Do keep this in mind whenever you're watching this or any other video on wildcard drafts. Now another thing to note is the fixture swings coming up. Aston Villa and Leeds have some decent games this week, but then they have some really tough games. Similarly, teams like West Ham, Liverpool and Leicester City have a couple of tricky games before a really good run of fixtures. So I think you really need to see what works for you and your team and then plan accordingly. I think a couple of more things that you need to check when wildcarding is how many Spurs and Man City players to get. Spurs have a double game week in game week 32, that's for sure, but then they blank in game week 33 along with Man City. Now this should surely be kept in mind because if you get more than 3 outfield players from these teams, you won't be able to field a playing 11 without making any transfers to your squad. This will also help you identify whether you need a strong bench or not, because if you have a strong bench, you can definitely play them ahead of the Spurs and Man City players for game week 33. Now that we're done with the wildcard team structure, guys, let's get our hands dirty, let's get into the first draft. Our team value in the first draft is 104 million and we have 0.1 million left in the bank with this draft. I think it's safe to say that one thing we've kept common across all drafts is our keepers. We have gone ahead with Mendy from Chelsea and Forster from Southampton. On paper, Chelsea looks the strongest to keep clean sheets in the next few games. This week Mendy is against West Brom, so really there are high chances of a shutout here. Our bench option is Forster and he's probably the cheapest playing goalkeeper right now. He might not start every game and McCarthy might also come into the picture, but if you don't intend to play a bench boost, I think Forster is the best second choice goalkeeper. Now guys, our defense is also pretty similar. Diaz, Shaw and Cody from Wolves feature in all drafts that we've made. You could argue that Diaz might not play every game, but to be honest, if any City defender has a chance of starting every game, it is Ruben Diaz. Of course, we're still playing the pep roulette and it might hit us back, but if we have the budget, I think it's a risk worth taking. In case if you don't have the money, you can go with Stones, provided that you have a strong bench. Now another question you might have is that why on earth are we playing a Wolves defender? In all fairness, Wolves haven't kept a lot of clean sheets this season and they rank 4th among the worst teams for expected goals conceded in the last 6 game weeks. Now agreed, their defense isn't that great, but their fixture run is just too hard to ignore, right? Now after the game week 30, they play 5 of the 6 teams from the bottom, so one can assume that there are clean sheets there. Cody's looking like the best option out of nowhere, guys. He scored a goal against Man City, he's advancing and shooting a lot more. He also ranks among the top 3 defenders for expected goals in the last 6 game weeks. So he's checking all the right boxes, so why not go for him, right? This draft has Rudiger as our Chelsea defender. Now he's one of the cheapest options in the Chelsea defense. In case if you have the money, you can also go for someone like an Azpilicueta, who has a better chance of getting attacking returns along with some bonus points. I still feel a Chelsea defense double up makes more sense than a Man City one at the moment, and these two are really good options. Our 5th defender is Kieran Tierney from Arsenal. Another player who carries a great amount of creative threat And Arsenal do play Sheffield, Fulham and Newcastle in 3 of their next 5 games, so there's potential for clean sheets as well. Let's talk about a midfield now, guys. Fernandes and Son are present in all our drafts. Now the reason and logic behind this is that Fernandes has a very high ownership, and when managers would captain him, his effective ownership, which is EO, would also increase further. Now guys, if you don't have him, he's going to hurt your rank, especially if he provides an attacking return. So this is more of a defensive pick, to be honest, but we'll take that. We'll take him and move forward. Let's talk about Son now. He's a more attacking option as we are getting him early in our team for the double game week against Southampton and Everton. Now the double game week is in game week 32, but he doesn't feature in game week 33, so you could either bench him or move him out depending on your strategy at the time. Now we've moved around and played with our other 3 midfield spots. This draft has Gundogan, Havertz and Rafinha. Now to be honest, Gundogan is probably the most doubtful pick here. There's so many good options in and around the 6 million mark this year, and with City having a very congested schedule, he might not even start every game. I would probably just keep him for this week before transferring him out in game week 31 or 32. Guys, our next pick is Kai Havertz. He is the highlight. I love this one, to be honest. It's more attacking than Mason Mount for sure, who would be a popular transfer this week as Chelsea face West Brom. I just feel Havertz has the potential to do really well in the advanced false nine role that he's playing. He's surely been playing well, he just needs to score more. He's more expensive than Mount, but at the same time he's one of the best differentials for the next round of fixtures. Rafinha, guys, is the final name in our midfield. I've kept him for now as Leeds face Sheffield United, who've surely given up this season. There's no way back for them, and considering how Leeds play, this could be a goal fest. Rafinha is generally involved in whatever Leeds do, so he's worth keeping. You can also keep him on the bench for the tricky games, especially if you have your 4th defender or even the 3rd striker sorted. In attack, we're going ahead with a strong 3. Harry Kane has to be the first name in your forwards list, guys, and he finds a place in all 3 of our drafts. He's a no-brainer and is also a good captain's pick for game week 30. Our 2nd striker in this draft is Jamie Vardy. Now his game is against Man City, who are solid defensively, but Vardy can score against anyone, right? His numbers in terms of expected goals and assists also look good. The 3rd striker in this lineup is Mikel Antonio, who's had a couple of quiet games against Leeds and Man United, but at the same time, he's also returned against Tottenham, Man City and Arsenal, so a pretty mixed bag there. I genuinely feel he has the potential to get more goals in the coming games, and his link up with Jesse Lingard, guys, could be crucial. Now in terms of our playing 11, we would probably play a 3-5-2, playing Kane and Antonio up top, with Rudiger, Shaw and Diaz as our playing defenders. So that's the first draft done and dusted. Let's move on to the second one. Now we've tried to do things a bit differently here with our second draft. We've not gone for a Chelsea attacker here. Chelsea don't score 3s and 4s anymore, and their attackers' ownership percentage is not that high, so we might just get away with this one. Now instead we've gone ahead with Diogo Jota. Liverpool also have a good run of fixtures, and Jota could be a really nice differential and a value add over Mo Salah. Mo Salah hasn't done enough, and he's on the chopping block for this draft. Now this move also allows us to further strengthen our defense, and we've gone ahead with Azpilicueta over Rudiger. There's a high point ceiling for sure. Another change that we've done here is going for Lingard over Gundogan. Now the logic here is more guaranteed minutes. I don't think so Lingard is under any risk of rotation, and though he has tougher fixtures than Gundogan, it's still not enough to convince me to continue with the Man City midfielder in this draft. In attack, guys, there is one change. As we've covered a West Ham attacker, we've not gone ahead with Antonio in this one. We've taken a short-term punt on Che Adams from Southampton. He has a couple of decent fixtures before game week 32, playing West Brom and Burnley, and I see some points potential there. Now in terms of our playing 11 for this draft, we would again play a 3-5-2, playing Kane and Adams up top, with Azpilicueta, Shaw and Diaz as our playing defenders. Great, we're finally here. Let's talk about a final draft now. Now guys, we've gone a bit cost effective in defense to accommodate better players in midfield, more specifically Mo Salah. I know a lot of people might not be okay with selling Salah, so I've included Salah in this one. He hasn't fired mid-season this year, but he's still a top player, guys. There's no denying that fact for sure. Liverpool's fixtures are okay at least from an attacking point of view. Now this transfer means that we are playing Rudiger instead of Azpilicueta, and instead of Tierney, we've gone ahead with the budget option in Diop from West Ham. He'll cover a West Ham clean sheet, and he doesn't cost much. So I'd say a pretty decent pick, to be honest. The likes of Rafinha and Lingard also become a bit tricky to own with Salah in the team, so we've gone ahead with Souček. He has been brilliant this season and he carries a great attacking threat, especially on set pieces. Now not covering Rafinha leaves us with a Leeds player short to face Sheffield, and hence we've gone ahead with Bamford in this draft. Kane and Antonio are our other forwards. I definitely feel Antonio and Bamford are better options than Watkins from Aston Villa and even Lacazette from Arsenal. At least for this game week, these guys look like better options. The Arsenal forward could be a transfer to replace Bamford in game week 31 though. Now for this draft guys, our playing 11 would be in a 3-4-3 formation with Souček on the bench in midfield and Rudiger, Shaw and Diaz playing at the back. There it is guys, these were our top 3 wildcard drafts for game week 30. Let me know in the comments below what you think about them and if you disagree with any of these picks. Okay then, let's get into our next section for now, a pretty important one. Guys, we are doing a quickfire Q&A in terms of what popular players should transfer out for this and the coming game weeks from a few teams. Now we've not covered all the teams here, and in case if you feel that you have any questions around some other teams, please let me know in the comments below. Coming to our first team guys, we've not listed them based on any ranks or any particular difficulty levels, it's just done in an alphabetical order. Let's talk about our first team, Aston Villa. Definitely don't keep Martinez and Target if you are on a wildcard this or next week. Now guys, if you don't have your wildcard, probably keep one of them this week before transferring them out as soon as possible. Now we heard that Jack Grealish is back in training and he could play this week, so that's one to check for sure. If Jack Grealish is back, he could be a transfer in game week 30, but then his fixtures afterwards are tricky, so keep that in mind. I would hold Watkins for now against Fulham, but surely sell him in game week 31. There are definitely better options available. Our next team is Chelsea, so double up on defense. You can move out Chilwell if you are on your wildcard. Keep Mount in case of no wildcard. Havertz is also a great transfer in if you're okay with the additional risk and have the extra money available. I would surely sell Werner, he's definitely not worth the price. Let's talk about the champions Liverpool. Trent and Robertson are too expensive and probably should be sold. There's way more value in cheaper defenders this season. Salah is another to avoid if you don't have him in your team right now. Now in case if you have him and want to invest your funds elsewhere, then Jota is a great replacement. Leeds United is our next team guys. Hold Dallas, Rafinha and Bamford for this week against Sheffield United. Let's say guys, if you are on your wildcard this game week, then avoid Dallas, pick one of Bamford and Rafinha. My hinge is towards Rafinha and personally I would definitely go for him. Let's go, the next team that we have is Man City. It's a tricky one but definitely selling one defender if you have to makes sense. Preferably one of John Stones and Joao Cancelo, and you should surely keep Ruben Dias. Among midfielders, you could keep one of Gundogan or KDB for now, but sell them before their game week 33 blank. Guys, our final team is West Ham. I would sell Cresswell in case I'm a bit tight on budget. It's definitely worth having one of Lingard or Souček. I would always go for Lingard personally. Antonio is also a hold for now, and he should be monitored closely as few other forwards also have decent games in the coming game weeks. Okay then, let's get into our final section of this video guys. This could literally make or break your game week. It's the armband discussion. Who should we give the armband to this week? To be honest guys, there are a couple of standout fixtures. Tottenham versus Newcastle and Leeds versus Sheffield United. Let's look at the first option. Harry Kane would be a really popular captain this week. He has scored 4 goals in his last 6 game weeks and overall attacking numbers look really promising. So he's a great captain pick for sure. Another popular pick from the same fixture would be Heung-min Son. He should be fit to play Newcastle. I think his immediate return from injury might discourage a few managers, but he has the potential for a huge points haul this week, that is for sure guys. Let's talk about the other standout fixture here. Rafinha is the best option to go for from Leeds. His attacking stats are better than Bamford's if you look at the recent games. His goal involvement too is way more than the Leeds striker, so if you have him, you can look at captaining him for sure. Now in case if you don't own Rafinha but have Bamford, then Bamford becomes a decent option. It's a home fixture for Leeds, so that might just put me off a bit, but it's also against Sheffield United, right, who look pretty awful at the moment. Some other options include Bruno Fernandes and Kevin De Bruyne. Both don't have standout games, but they have the capability to turn the game at any moment, right? I feel Bruno Fernandes is probably playing a better defensive team, but is also more nailed on than KDB. Pep's rotation might just give Bruno the edge over the Belgian international, so I'd go with Bruno Fernandes here. Now guys, personally if you ask me, I'm going for Kane this week. It is safe, it's probably even boring, but I need those points against Newcastle. Who will be your captain this week guys? Let me know in the comments below. So that'll be all for this video guys. I really hope I was able to add some value to your overall strategy and transfer decisions. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. The deadline is a Saturday this time, so you'll have plenty of time. Still, make sure you lock in your teams before time this week. We'll be posting more Game Week 30 stuff on Instagram, so make sure you check out our Insta page, Insanely Football. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. I would love your support going forward. So, that's about it. I'm going out. All the best for this game week guys. Have a great one. And I'll see you Insaners next time.